Hey everybody, my name is Corey, and today I wanted to share my story with you about how I was able to lose 80 pounds. But first I want to show you my transformation from 245 pounds down to 165 pounds. So losing weight is something that I really wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. And it's something that I really always struggled with because for most of my life, I just really didn't know how to lose weight. And after I finally learned what it was that I should be doing to lose weight, it was really hard for me to make consistent changes enough to see any type of consistent weight loss progress. And so again, I was always one of the fat kids. I was always one of the kids who couldn't keep up in gym class. I would always be walking it out at the back of the running line with the rest of the kids who couldn't keep up. I was terrified of changing in the locker room. I would show up to the locker room early or wait till everyone left just so none of the other guys would see me with my shirt off. And I was also terrified of being invited to a pool party. And so most of my way through school, I was very unconfident with the way that I looked. I was really scared to talk to girls, and I very much wanted to lose weight, but again, I just didn't know how. And starting my freshman year, I made the unfortunate decision that I was basically going to start starving myself to lose weight, because that was the only thing that I understood could work, is that if I ate less, that I would start losing weight. And it actually did work. I lost about 40 pounds from my freshman year to my sophomore year. But again, I did it by basically starving myself. I was only eating 1,200 calories per day, and the food that I was eating was still really unhealthy, non-nutritious food. And so most of the time I was really miserable, I was incredibly hungry, and I lost a lot of muscle, and it just wasn't a sustainable way to lose weight. But I was young and it did work at the time. And after my freshman year, I started working out 5 days per week in weightlifting class. And so from about the age of 16 to 18 was the only time in my life where I really got away with eating unhealthy. I actually got in really good shape by just lifting weights, even though I was still eating unhealthy. Again, I was really young and I was working out almost every single day in weightlifting class, and that's why I was able to get away with my unhealthy diet at that time. And so when I graduated, I was in really great shape. I could run for miles without a problem. I could lift a lot of weight, and I looked good and I felt really good about myself. But after I graduated high school and I started going to college was when things really started to go downhill. My diet and my eating habits got way worse, and I wasn't exercising nearly as much, and I started to gain weight very rapidly. I remember when I was in college, I was using my college credit card to buy snacks and soda all day long. I would wait until this little shop opened on campus, and I would buy as much snacks and soda as I could. I would stuff it into my backpack, and my backpack weighed more from the soda than it did my books. And then I would go over to the bookstore right away and I would buy different kinds of snacks. And I would eat that stuff all day. I would drink soda all day long. And my habits were basically the same when I was at work and when I was at home. My entire diet was just filled with the most unhealthy foods that you can think of. From regular foods that I would cook at home, which were still unhealthy, to fast food, to all of the different kinds of snacks that I would eat all day. I would just stuff my face from the second that I woke up until the moment that I went to bed. And I would also wake up in the middle of the night and eat all different kinds of unhealthy things and drink unhealthy drinks right in the middle of the night as well. And so I just had no control over my diet, and I was consuming a ton of calories every day. And even when I was exercising, it just wasn't enough to counteract all of the calories that I was consuming. Whenever I would try to lose weight by exercising, I really wouldn't lose weight. I would stop gaining weight so quickly, but it just really wouldn't work, and I would get frustrated and I would give up, and I kind of started to blame myself. I started to think, this is just how I am. This is how my body is destined to be. I'll always be fat, and there's nothing that I will be able to do to change this. But I finally started to realize that actually there is something that I can do. I started to learn about how healthy eating helps you lose weight, how focusing on eating more healthy foods can help you lose more weight. And it took me a while to wrap my head around that concept, but I finally realized that I can eat a lot of healthy, natural foods and be very full and satisfied, but since they're so low in calories, I'll still be in a calorie deficit and I'll be able to lose weight without being hungry. And so even though I realized this, it took me a long time to be able to change my diet. There was a lot of times where I tried to start eating healthy and losing weight, and I would always go way too big too soon, and I would get overwhelmed within a couple of days because I just tried to wake up the first morning of my diet and be absolutely perfect. I would expect that I would never eat junk food again and that I would just adopt this perfectly healthy diet in a single day, and it just never worked out like that. I always put too much pressure on myself to be perfect, and I would end up giving up. But one day I finally got sick and tired of the way that I looked and the way that I felt about myself. I didn't want to keep going through my adult life at the size that I was and looking how I did. I wanted girls to notice me. I wanted to feel confident about myself. I wanted to be able to do the things that I wanted to do, like going on hikes in the mountains with my buddies, or being able to play more than 9 holes of frisbee golf without feeling like I was going to die. I was absolutely sick of how I felt and how I looked, and so I finally decided that I need to start making permanent changes to my habits that will become a normal part of my lifestyle so that I can stay on track and keep making consistent progress until I finally reach my goals. And so that's exactly what I did. Instead of trying to be completely perfect and go on some crash diet like I always had before, I started focusing on changing my habits at a pace that I was able to handle and that I was able to stick with consistently. And so I started eating more healthy foods and less unhealthy foods day by day and week by week. And so right off the bat, I started adding at least one healthy meal per day into my diet. And then as I got comfortable with eating the healthy foods that I had brought into my diet, after I was comfortable with sticking to the changes that I had made, I kept adding more and more healthy, natural foods into my diet, like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean meat. I kept adding these types of foods into my diet, which kept reducing my calorie consumption, and I just kept losing weight faster and faster. Now, even though exercise wasn't enough to help me lose weight when I was eating unhealthy, even though exercise wasn't enough to get me in great shape all by itself, it was still a really important part of my weight loss plan. And so I both ate healthy and exercised. And again, I took it at a pace that I was able to handle. As soon as I started adding healthy foods into my diet after a couple of weeks, I got used to that and I started exercising lightly. And then after I got used to having both of those habits on a normal basis, I kept stepping up my exercise routine, and again, I kept eating more and more healthy foods until I had eventually replaced almost all of the unhealthy junk food that I used to eat with healthy, low-calorie, nutritious, and natural foods. And again, I just kept losing weight faster and faster as I continued to improve my habits, and I kept reducing my calorie consumption. And after about 1 year, I had lost 80 pounds. I went from 245 pounds back down to my high school graduating weight at 165 pounds. And this has just changed my life for the better in so many ways that I'll probably have to do an entire video just on all the different rewards that came with my weight loss journey and how many different ways that it made me happy and excited in my life. But most of all, losing that significant amount of weight just made me feel really, really good about myself. Number one, it made me feel proud about the progress that I made. But most of all, I feel good in my clothes. I feel like my clothes fit well. I feel like I look good in my clothes. And if I ever get invited to a pool party, I wouldn't turn that down either. So I hope that my transformation inspires you to start your own weight loss journey. And if you want to learn more about how I lost weight, check out this video that I've linked for you right here. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe so I can keep sharing weight loss tips with you in the future.